everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to Syracuse Aviation and welcome back to another airport update of Cedar Creek Regional Airport. At this point, it's not even looking like a regional airport anymore, so I don't know what's really going on there. I think they're still working on the international gate deal. Excuse me, and I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. So there has been a lot of changes. As you know, if you've seen previous updates, you know that the previous terminal was 3D printed. It was a lot taller, and the problem with that is the design honestly sucks. The jet bridges are very hard to position with the way that terminal is. The terminal is too high for what this airport should be. It's just ridiculously big and just bulky and unnecessarily large. So for today, at least, I'm trying a new setup. This is just wood boards. This is what Syracuse used to be made out of back when I did updates with these boards. And so it definitely doesn't look amazing, but it's a little bit more realistic. So, and I really like this little wing I put down here. I think it looks really nice. So obviously a lot of gates have been shifted because of this. A lot of airlines have moved around. It's stayed fairly consistent aside from Southwest and United really for the most part. Maybe Frontier as well, but Delta and Breeze are kind of in the same position. American is pretty close to where they were. So without further ado, I hope you guys are excited, and let's get started. And I'm going to try to make this through all in one go. If I have to cut, then I will. Hopefully I don't have to. I guess we can call this Gate 1. This is pretty interesting. It's the steel-sided jet bridge with like a glass extension piece. So we have the Southwest 737-700 in the Canyon blue colors. This aircraft will be heading out to Baltimore. So at this point, I don't remember what Baltimore was in the last one. I think it was 5 daily 700s, and if it wasn't, then we're going to say that this is upgraded to 5 daily 700s. If it was, then nothing really has changed here. Then we have a Southwest 737-700 in the heart colors with splits. Hoping for NG to release this one. I don't know why they're being so slow. But the Panda one, it's acceptable, but you get up close to it, up close and personal, and it's, you notice all the little issues and the errors that they made, and it's just kind of a chunky little, not really well executed model, I guess we could say. So this guy will be heading out to Chicago Midway. That's 5 daily. Again, I don't remember if we had that. I think we did have it in the last update. I don't remember the frequency, so I guess, let's see. I'm going to say, okay, so what I think the best thing for Southwest to do is to have more frequencies for their hubs on smaller aircraft. So that's why Chicago and Baltimore, they're kind of the same airport, but kind of not, in terms of the Southwest operations. So it's basically the same exact service, arriving and departing around the same time, and it's 5 daily each on the 700. Then where we have higher demand Southwest cities, where Southwest still has a large presence like Orlando and Tampa, but not as large as Baltimore or Chicago per se, but they still have a large presence. We have lower frequencies on a larger aircraft. So Orlando is on a once daily 737-800, and so is Tampa. I'm expecting those to be upgraded to twice daily, probably max twice daily on the 800. They could try probably a hybrid 700 and 800 to kind of experiment and then adjust as needed. It's not really too hard it's not really hard for them to do that because it's just 700s and 800s really make up their fleet for the most part, and then you have some maxes, but it's really the same aircraft, and so all you have to do, really they sometimes will adjust on the daily, just depending on how many seats are booked. But they're going to try to keep things consistent here. So we have the Southwest 738 in the heart colors. That's a really nice angle. I know the resolution probably sucks, but that's a really nice looking corner of Southwest. I really like that. There's a little part of Baltimore that actually coincidentally I flew out of the last time I flew commercial. This was this little extension. I want to say it was like Concourse D or something, rather. And it was very tight. The jet bridges were like almost parallel to the terminal. It's just a very tight little area, and honestly I think it's pretty cool. So that's kind of what this reminds me of. But anyways, that's kind of our Southwest operations currently. I would like to see them add more Florida destinations, so like Fort Myers, Sarasota, Fort Lauderdale, those kind of operations would be pretty cool. Then we have a Delta CRJ 900 getting into the Delta section now. This guy will be heading out to New York JFK, which is 3 daily CRJ 900s. We have a Delta Connection CRJ 700 next up, heading up to Detroit, which is 3 daily. So I think I mentioned this in the last one. Detroit's not like a really big city for us. Delta really just does it for kind of extra options. Yep, so we had an interruption by none other than my brother, of course, always trying to screw things up for me, but he's a kid, so he's really not, but he acts like a kid. But anyways, Delta really just does this for more options, I guess. It's not really something like we have with Atlanta or JFK that are actually high demand, but they just do it for traveler options. So CRJ 700, 3 daily, kind of a mediocre service for us, but it's one that still definitely helps, and Delta's not really going to end anytime soon. Otherwise, they probably would be operating on the CRJ 200. So next up, we have an A321 heading out to Atlanta, of course. This is 3 daily A321s. Nothing much to say there, just a very, very high demand service as Delta tries to funnel most of their passengers out of Cedar Creek through Atlanta if they're going to connect. And again, Atlanta just has a lot of demand on top of that, so that's kind of where they're at. Then lastly, we have LaGuardia on the A220-100. This is a twice daily service. So a lot of aircraft from this update, I don't remember what they were on in the last update. So a lot of these services are revised or refined or new or updated. So a lot of them, again, I can't remember what a lot of these were. So this is kind of just the most recent schedule being implied here, or implemented, rather. And we're going to catch this Allegiant A319. Where is it? There it is. Sorry, that did not work out. Before we get on to the rest. So just arrived on runway 11 from Destin Fort Walton Beach. So Allegiant currently has paused service to Orlando Sanford because the other carriers were just obliterating Allegiant in terms of the load factors. Of course, you have JetBlue, Southwest. What was the other one? Frontier. Frontier. There you go. Now, obviously, they don't fly to the same airport. Allegiant flies to Sanford, but once the other carriers started operating flights to Orlando in general, Allegiant's loads went way down. So it's on temporary pause while Allegiant figures out a better schedule and better arrival and departure times for that service. And at the same time, they've also paused service to Las Vegas, or Lost Wages, I should say, which was the only other service that Allegiant had. And so now they're operating daily E319s to Destin Fort Walton Beach, which through surveys has shown ridiculous, like seriously, like super stupid high demand for Destin Fort Walton Beach. And so that's why Allegiant's doing the once daily E319, which personally I think is a really cool service. Destin Fort Walton Beach is kind of one of those airports that's honestly, I think, forgotten about. I don't really know much about the airport itself, but when you think of vacation spots, you think, at least in Florida, you think more of, Orlando, Miami, Tampa, those kind of places. But Destin, it still has a lot of demand, and a lot of people do go to Destin to vacation. And so Allegiant having a decent presence in Destin, this is going to be a really great service. Again, the surveys have shown really strong demand for Destin, and I think this is actually going to turn into one of our foundational services here at Cedar Creek, which is really exciting. Again, Destin, it's a smaller airport, but a really cool one, and to have it on a daily E319 with Allegiant being the only airline to serve it from here, I think it's going to be a really cool service, and I think it's going to fill up fairly well. And again, just one of our new foundational services while we wait for Allegiant to resume, hopefully in the future, Orlando, Sanford, and Las Vegas. Probably on reduced frequencies. I don't know why they paused Vegas, to be honest. I think they figure if they're going to pause Sanford, for some reason they can pause Vegas and figure out what they're doing with the once daily flight to Destin, and then once they get this kind of, going consistently at a good pace, then they'll probably add Vegas back, and maybe Sanford if they figure out better times. Anyways, so yeah, just now arriving from Destin on runway 11, the inaugural service. No water cannon salute. Allegiant didn't want to pay the fees for that, although the airport probably would have done it for free, but Allegiant's just Allegiant, so there you go. Not that they're a bad airline, just people like to throw out memes, so I figured I would. I still really like Allegiant, to be honest. I know a lot of budget carriers get crapped on all the time just because they're budget carriers, but you get what you pay for, and to be honest, the budget carriers are, in a way, taking over. I mean, these guys are out here killing it with the new flights, the expansions, the load factors, and they really are doing awesome, and they're carrying a lot of services that otherwise wouldn't be possible if all we had was legacy carriers. For instance, if you want to fly from Syracuse or Elmira or Rochester or whatever to Sanford, St. Pete, Punta Gorda, Greater Tampa, the only airline you really have for those is Allegiant, of course out of Syracuse, but for a lot of the smaller cities, all you have is Allegiant. And if you had airlines like Delta and American there, but not Allegiant, obviously the legacy carriers aren't going to fly direct to Orlando, and a lot of these vacationers want to get to these smaller destinations without spending much money, and that's what Allegiant's here for. So the business model really does work super well, and I really have to say I appreciate Allegiant, Spirit, Frontier, Breeze, Southwest, even Ovelo, despite all the negative inquiries, I guess. Anyways, Breeze, Embraer 190, or 195 rather, I'm sorry. I know better than that. Obviously, Gemini hasn't released the 190. Hopefully they do. Then I can start operating like Norfolk and Portland, Maine, which would be really awesome. That would make a lot of sense. So the Embraer 195 here, heading out to Savannah, which is a new service for Breeze, along with West Palm Beach on the Embraer 195, which are both a Saturday-only year-round service. I'm very excited for this one to happen. Breeze, as I've mentioned before, they started out with Charleston and Tampa, their two largest airports, or two largest markets, I guess we could say, on the A220, just to kind of test the waters, as I referred to it in the past. And once they figured out how the loads are doing there, they're going to add some smaller cities and even some other cities that have competition with other airlines, because I think Breeze does want to start a focus city here, which would be really awesome. I would love to see Breeze do routes like, San Francisco, Provo, Los Angeles, Las Vegas on the A220 would be really cool. But also cities like Portland, Maine, that still do have demand, because a lot of people do vacation up there in the summer, and even in the winter, families and college students, that kind of thing, would still fly this route. If it's a once weekly Embraer 190, I have no doubts that they could fill up the aircraft. So really hoping we get a 190 release, and we can start having more of a focus city here for Breeze. I don't really want to make it a Breeze hub. That's just a little bit too ambitious, but a focus city. Two gates max, I think, works out really well. Unfortunately, what that means is we can't operate all the routes that they have here in one update, but nonetheless, we can have it max 4. If we're not doing turnarounds, we can have 4 separate routes. So anyways, sorry for rambling. It's just a lot to go over. The Breeze Airways Embraer 195 on a turnaround flight to Savannah, which is the new service, along with West Palm Beach. Actually, you know what? We're going to say you came in from Savannah and we'll head out to West Palm. That makes more sense. That way we can operate both of them. And then the Breeze A220-300 arriving in from Tampa and heading out to Charleston. So Tampa and Charleston, currently for Breeze, obviously being hubs and on the larger aircraft, has a lot more demand. But these two cities, West Palm and Savannah, are still going to do pretty well filling up the 195, especially on the once weekly service. Saturday is going to do very well. So very excited to see where Breeze goes from here. Very excited. Hoping for the 190 to come out, but we'll have to see. Frontier A320 Griswold the Bear heading out to Denver after an arrival from Orlando MCO. So one of the reasons that Allegiant, one of the reasons that Allegiant again stopped their Orlando service is because of Frontier, among JetBlue and Southwest, kind of destroying them in terms of airfares. So we'd like to see them add Raleigh-Durham, Vegas, Tampa, but Frontier isn't really focused on expanding here yet. I think mainly because we have airlines like Breeze and Southwest going pretty ambitious, and Frontier's kind of mainly focused on growing the services that they already have, hopefully putting them on the A321. And then once they can fly a daily A321 from both destinations, that'll kind of prove to them, hey, we can fly a lot more than this. And then they'll probably start adding some slightly smaller cities on the A320, which would be really cool. And United has 2 gates now, so I don't remember what they were at before, probably 2 or 3. And I remember they were down at the end, and we had a 550 way in the corner. But today we have 2 739s, as I did acquire a second one, which I'm very excited about, and I should have a Continental Globe 739 in the mail at some point. So The first one will head out to Chicago O'Hare, which is 3 daily 737-900s. And this one pushing back for one of the 3 daily services to Denver. So Denver and Chicago are kind of the same distance from Cedar Creek and have roughly the same demand. And so the 3 daily 739 for both cities, again, it's basically the same exact flight, just going a little bit, not a little bit, pretty significant distances away from each other. But from Cedar Creek, it's pretty much the same service, obviously just different cities. So let's actually, I don't want to keep zooming because the focus sucks, so let me readjust here. Here we go. So, try to move this A319 out of the way so I don't drag my elbow into it. We have an American One World 738. This is a new model. Really like it. Almost perfect. I actually think it probably is perfect. I don't have any issues with it. So, this aircraft is arriving in from, let's see. Okay, Dallas, Charlotte, Phoenix. What one am I missing? Huh, can't remember. Sorry guys. Okay, this guy's coming from Dallas on the 2 daily 738. Remembered where where my train of thought was. We have the American E319 still going strong on the 3 daily service to Charlotte. I remember last update I made a big deal out of the 3 daily E319 service and how pivotal it was and just how much sense it makes, and that still holds true. This is a perfect service, perfect aircraft and frequency for this particular city. So really nice to see that for Charlotte. We have an American 737-800 heading out to Phoenix on the twice daily 738. Now this would make more sense on an A319 or A320 or A321. I think Phoenix is more of an Airbus destination for American as far as, you know, these mainline services, but they still do get the 737-800. So at some point, if I get another A319 or an A320, maybe I'll throw that in there in its place. But nothing wrong with the 738 for now. I don't really see any issues with that. So the 738 on the twice daily service to Phoenix. Boy. Okay, let me think. So we got Dallas, we got Charlotte, we got Phoenix. What am I missing? I don't remember. Okay, well. American. I'm sorry guys, I'm not trying to, I really should have wrote these down because I know I had one. Oh, Miami, I think. Yeah, well, Miami makes more sense than the A319. We'll still say, we'll say Miami for this one, and I guess we can say American Airlines service is kind of up in the air at this point. So we'll just say this guy's coming from Miami on a 1 daily service, and then the Embraer 175. I remember this one, 3 daily to DCA, unless it was, no, it wasn't a 145. The 145 was Philadelphia, and that's not in here right now. So DCA is still on the 3 daily Embraer 175. Really cool aircraft, really cool route, really like it. And JetBlue on the once daily frequency to Orlando on the A320. Hoping that they add Fort Lauderdale, and then maybe far into the future when we get the A220, they can do West Palm Beach, Tampa. Those would be really awesome. So we'll have to see if someone can release that. That'd be great. Then we can start operating that. And Alaska, I don't think they've ever been in here, so I guess this is a new service for Cedar Creek as far as whatever's happened in the last few months. Again, I've been missing updates, so I apologize for that. But it feels good to bust one out. So we're going to say the Alaska 175. Yeah, it has pretty good range, and we're not too far from Seattle. So this is a new once daily service. This is a remain overnight Embraer 175 to start, which should fill up, and I would anticipate this gets upgraded to a 737 of sorts fairly quickly, because the remain overnight services, especially for an unserved city like Seattle, should do very, very well. Let me try and get a better view for you guys. There you go. That should be okay. So, very excited for Alaska to do their thing here. Hopefully they expand to cities like Portland, even San Diego. Would be really awesome. But we'll just kind of have to monitor the growth of the city and the airport in general, because it's not just the city that's growing. It's the suburbs and even people hours away from the city, because there's not really. This is based in Anderson, Montana, I think, and so there's not really a whole lot up there. in terms of airports, and so a lot of people from the surrounding areas don't have another option for quite some distance, and so this is the closest airport for them. So a very large catchment area for this airport, attracting a lot of passengers, not just from Cedar Creek, but a lot of areas that are pretty far away, honestly. Even some Canadian travelers will cross the border and come in here and fly out of here, so that's good to see. So, looking pretty good here. Some pretty good new services. I'm very excited for Breeze to keep going out of here. I'm very excited for that, and I apologize for the American services. That was kind of a disaster, but unfortunately, another issue with the other terminal is that, again, this board is very small, as I've probably mentioned in the past, and I want to expand the terminals because I want I want Alaska to have one gate. They don't need any more than one, at least for now. JetBlue, I think, makes most sense with two. That way they can operate services like JFK, Boston, on higher frequencies with lower aircraft, and then you can also have all of your other airports, Los Angeles, West Palm Beach, Tampa, Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, kind of all on the A320, and 2 gates should be sufficient. American, I think 5 gates is perfect. United probably would do better with 3 or 4 if they're going to have Denver, Chicago, IAD, IAH, Denver. Did I already say Denver? I don't know. Chicago. San Francisco is one that I'd like to get in here at some point. Frontier should be good with 1 for now. Maybe, big maybe in the future. Actually, I don't know. It's hard to say. They're kind of up in the air at the moment. Breeze is good with their 2. Honestly, I probably should have given Delta another gate for this update. Breeze probably shouldn't have 2, while Delta has 4, but there it is. This guy belongs down here. Sorry. Probably isn't even close to where it was before, but that's that. And then Delta with their 4 gates, probably should have 5. And then Southwest with 3 gates currently, I think is perfect. Maybe they could add another one. At the current time, there's just not really a whole lot of space. I really like this angle here. This just is looking. I just love the tightness over here. Honestly, I'm usually kind of claustrophobic, but this just reminds me again of that little area at Baltimore that I just think is so cool for some reason. So really like that. And obviously just the 2 heart liveries and a Canyon Blue mixed in there. Just very generic, but very colorful nonetheless, and just looks really nice. So that'll do it for today's Cedar Creek update. I think this was the 15th update. If not, I apologize. I don't really remember. It'll be in the title, so just scroll down and take a look. But without further ado, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to try, again, just to keep busting some of these out every month or every 2 months or however long it takes, pardon me. May have to move it down into the basement and put it on some larger boards. That way I can get a lot more variety, hopefully, and grow this thing massively. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please consider giving the video a like and subscribing to the channel. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave me a comment below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.